The rich legacy of the Catholic intellectual tradition, CIT for short, is most obviously expressed and accessed through Catholic higher education. Now, the CIT should shape all instances of Catholic education, from preschool to post-school. And yet, Catholic higher ed is surely its primary steward, responsible to carry it forward and develop its legacy over time. Now, first, it may help to remember just how and why the CIT originated. As early as the 2nd century, a great debate emerged among Christian leaders. Should the Church limit its educational mission to catechesis, to teaching the faith? Or should it also help to provide people with an education, teaching them to read and write? Some, like Tertullian, said that Jerusalem has no need of Athens, meaning that the Church should not be involved with secular learning and general education. But wiser heads prevailed, like Clement of Alexandria, who argued that all good education is a work of salvation. It improves the lives of people and society. And so Catholic education is an expression of the Church's mission to continue God's saving work in Jesus Christ. Soon thereafter, great Christian schools emerged in Antioch, Alexandria, Jerusalem, Rome, and other major centers, all committed to forging a Christian paideia, a uniting of human learning with Christian faith, of secular scholarship with divine revelation. With these early schools, the Church began to forge the partnership of faith and reason, which is the heart of the Catholic intellectual tradition. The commitment to faith-based scholarship and education was carried forward by the Benedictine and Celtic monastic schools of the early Middle Ages, and then was augmented by the cathedral schools of the Carolingian era. Then, early in the 2nd millennium, it was the Church that founded the first great universities. Paris, Oxford, Cambridge, all of them originated from cathedral schools, were founded by papal charter, and staffed by the emerging religious orders. So it is no exaggeration to say that the whole intellectual life, at least of Western culture, was shaped by Catholic faith and the education that it inspired. How then should we carry forward this rich CIT legacy, this partnership of faith and reason in our time? Well, to begin with, the Catholic intellectual tradition suggests strongly that Catholic higher ed should still be grounded ultimately in faith, that it be education both from and for a faith outlook on life. It should be education from a faith perspective, from a transcendent view of creation, of the person, and of human history. In other words, it must be education from the conviction that God is the ultimate ground of all that exists, the center of its meaning and purpose. Likewise, it should be education for faith, to encourage people to have faith in themselves, faith in others, faith in life in the world. Catholic higher ed should persuasively pose faith in God as the surest foundation from which to find meaning, to know the truth, and to live life well. Now, maintaining the faith aspect of CIT is imperative, I believe, if Catholic higher ed is to distinguish itself from other good forms of college and university education. Because beginning with the Enlightenment, universities generally have placed the person, the individual, at the center of the universe, whereas the CIT insists on maintaining God as the ultimate center of it all. What then of faith's partnership with reason in our time? What kind of reasoning does the CIT suggest for Catholic higher ed today? As Augustine argued, there must be total academic freedom. In fact, Augustine sometimes used the adjective Catholic to mean being open to the truth wherever it can be found, because all truth is of God. Then Aquinas insisted that our reasoning should also move our wills, with our knowledge disposing us to choose what is true and do what is good. Thereafter, the CIT helped to forge the scientific method, forming hypotheses and testing them empirically. Later, the CIT embraced the critical reasoning of the Enlightenment, a commitment not only to think, but to think about our thinking, to uncover our biases and the influence of our cultural context on our thinking. Now, I'm convinced that the CIT suggests to Catholic education today that faith and critical reason need to work together in a renewed partnership, forging a distinctive epistemology or way of knowing for our time. Now, no one has proposed this more forcefully than the great Catholic scholar Bernard Lonergan. Building on the whole scope of the CIT, and especially on Aquinas, Lonergan argued that it is not enough just to be reasonable, that our reasoning should also make us responsible. Or as Lonergan put it, the dynamics of our cognition should reach beyond understanding to make good judgments and responsible decisions as well. The more the Catholic intellectual tradition shapes the whole curriculum of Catholic higher education, the more potential we have to prepare people for their chosen career in the world, but also to prepare them to live well and wisely their human vocation as co-creators with God. Or to put it in more colloquial language, as Catholic higher ed and the CIT come together, we can educate people both to make a living and to have a life.